Brian Shaposhnik joins us now. He is in Tel Aviv. Brian, welcome.
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
How do you react to what we just learned? The United Nations is telling Israel to be careful.
Well, I wish I could say I'm surprised, but there's nothing new. And Israel, as you mentioned, cares about the loss of innocent Palestinian lives, just as we care about the loss of innocent Israeli lives. And the IDF will definitely do what's necessary to make sure that we avoid those civilian casualties when possible. So, I accept the UN's statement. I definitely don't agree with it, but I definitely wish that they had made the obvious mention that if Hamas would just agree to the ceasefire and stop firing at Israeli civilians, this whole thing would be over.
And Brian, do Israelis, when they see things like this from the UN and international media with, double standard, terrible double standard and demonization of Israel, it must be incredibly frustrating, I'd imagine. What is the reaction by Israeli citizens to this?
It is frustrating, but you know what? After it happens so many times over and over again, there's only so much you can do. There's only so many things you can say, and it just kind of becomes the norm. People get used to it, and they realize that it's probably not going to change. Something really interesting that I heard tonight is that in response to this Israeli ground invasion, the Egyptian foreign minister actually released an official statement to the public saying that this Hamas fault and the blood of innocent Palestinian civilians is on Hamas's hands. So to hear that Egypt is making a statement like that while the United Nations is focusing on Israel is just astounding.
Brian, I have a question regarding, if Israel and the IDF is successful in its mission now, which I understand is involving taking out Hamas and moving toward a more long-term solution with whomever else is willing to be a partner in peace there as the government, do you think that there is too much brainwashing going on amongst the Palestinian people that we've seen from Hamas influencing what they can do on social media, stuff like that? Or do you think that if Hamas was indeed wiped out as the illegitimate, I would say, government there, that the people would be more eager to just have peace in the region?
I just want to start by saying I'm not sure that Israel has really stated that the goal of the mission is to wipe out Hamas. Right now we have a limited ground incursion, and the goal of that, according to the IDF, is to take out Hamas's tunnels. They've dug a complex system of tunnels which allows them to infiltrate into Israeli territory underground. And they've tried and luckily failed times so far in this mission. But that's their goal, to get into Israel and to commit all kinds of attacks against innocent Israeli civilians. So for now, that's what we're seeing on the ground. In terms of what I think would happen if Hamas were taken out, it's kind of a toss in the air. It's really hard to know what Gazans are thinking. I hear a lot of conflicting things. On one hand, you're absolutely right about the propaganda. I've actually had the opportunity to learn a little bit of Arabic while I've been studying here in Israel, and I've watched a little bit of what's going on Hamas in Gaza, and it's really just unbelievable. They will show during the time that they're launching missiles at Israel, not only are they proud of attacking civilians, but they'll go so far as to even lie about the damage they're causing. They'll say that they caused civilian casualties in Israel when they have not. So it's hard for me to say. I can't speak on behalf of Gazans whether or not they believe this propaganda and whether or not they're interested in it, but we're just hoping here in Israel that we can have peace and quiet finally for both sides.
Well, I think you're right that the actual stated goal here is to do something about this network of tunnels and cache of weapons, but perhaps it should be the goal of Israel to wipe out Hamas.
You know what? I'm not in a position to make those kinds of strategical decisions. It's definitely something that a lot of Israelis are talking about, but it comes at a price too, because the question is, if you take out Hamas, who comes in their place? It creates a power vacuum, and unfortunately in Gaza, Hamas is definitely a terrorist organization, but there are others, and I dare say it, even worse ones. You have Al-Qaeda presence in Gaza, you have several other terrorist organizations there like Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and who knows whether that would improve the situation or simply make it worse.
Brian Shaposhnik in Tel Aviv, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Stay with us.